hours tonight, maybe. No sleep. Too many cigars.
I, I saw one of Bill Murray that said that all Olympics events should include like an average ordinary dude just for a reference point.
I love it. Lane 10, average guy.
Guy from the crowd.
He's drowning. Someone get him out of there.
Yeah.
Oh, All right, who's ready to go?
I am ready to go.
All right, let's just get into this. Folks, welcome back to episode 37 of the Tumbling Saber podcast. We are here Sunday night. It's 10:30, so we'll see if we can get out of here in a couple hours tonight. Say hi, Corey.
How's it going, brother?
I'm doing good. James, off a big weekend in Vermont, a big weekend of golfing. It's actually the sixth major of the PGA season, which is currently on hold, but let's not let facts get in the way here. James, what's going on, man?
Doing terrific. Quick hello to all the guys on the blue team who won the 9th annual Golden Beagle Golf Tournament. 11 people on the planet know what that means.
Not for long after you just dropped your single.
That's true. It's out there. You can find it if you look for it. Golden Beagle.
Golden Beagle on YouTube. There you see James and his big-ass beard rapping away. Oh, by the way, guys, we have to keep this podcast clean this week. I know I just let a little one rip there, but I don't want to have to search for F-bombs and this and that. It just editing is just not my thing, especially when I'm supposed to be working.
No problem. I've been hanging around with 24 guys all weekend, so I haven't been doing any swearing.
Or you got it all out of your system.
Maybe that's true.
Oh man, so kind of a big week in Star Wars.
Huge week in Star Wars. Oh my god, I just watched it.
The hits just keep on coming. It's ridiculous. Like how much? It's hard to keep up almost.
It became hard to. Well, actually, you know what? Let's before we get into any of the news, let's give a melancholy goodbye to Kenny Baker, who passed away yesterday, I believe, at the age of 81. So the man inside R2-D2 is no longer with us. One of the core cast. James, did you catch that news while you were sort of incommunicado in Vermont?
I was completely off the grid, and it's funny. I caught that news. I didn't know Canada won their first gold medal, but I caught that news. It's fine. It just came across like so super random. I saw it like a ticker at the bottom of the Olympic coverage, or TV coverage, I should say. It wasn't on Olympics at the time, but yeah, I was like, oh damn, that sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. Well, you know, 81's a good run, I think, but
yeah, for sure.
A lot of those years, later years anyway, the last I'd say 2 decades or so, he was not in great health.
Yeah, I didn't know this age, but it's always sad to lose a core cast member.
Yeah,
it really when I heard the news, it kind of hit me in the feels. Like I had a little bit of a frog in my throat, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's a guy that we've known. His little face has been part of our collective Star Wars memory since forever. So to have another one gone is really sad. I got to meet him, which not a lot of people get to say, but I did get to meet him back in '99.
Did you have a Trivial Pursuit board with you?
I did. And actually, well,
Awesome.
it was at EmpireCon actually in Montreal in '99. So we were there for both the same reasons. Him as a guest and myself as an attendee. But funny story, I was actually in the urinal, in the washroom, using the urinal, not standing in the urinal. And who comes up beside me into the little urinal next to me is one Kenny Baker. And he's
Really?
Yeah, and even then, like he excused himself from the VIP dinner that I was a part of just because he was not doing well. He wasn't feeling so hot that night, and you could hear it as in his breathing. Like he just had respiratory issues for years and years. But I did have a quick exchange with him in the bathroom, and not that's not the place you want to have exchanges with people. But when it's Kenny Baker, a core cast of Star Wars guy, you take those conversations where you can have them. So. Lovely guy. He made you feel like he would have sat there all night and talked to you. But he was on his way back up to his room to just to relax for the rest of the night because he had a whole Sunday ahead of him on the at the con. So yeah, we'll miss him. He will be certainly missed by the entire fan community. I don't know if he was part of The Force Awakens, but he had certainly faded away from the limelight in the last year or so. As much as he wanted to be a part of it, um, he just was not able to travel.
I'd say there's been some brilliant fan art that's come out of this, at least. Some really like just humble and like emotional stuff, you know?
Yeah, you can always rely on fan art to set the tone, set the mood. But anyway, rest in peace, Kenny Baker. You will be missed. Thank you for your contributions, my friend. And with that, I think we can move into our regular scheduled programming. And it's back, guys. Oh, it's back. The stupid fan theory of the week. And my antenna are down for these things now. I just burned out on them. But sometimes something passes your field of view, and it's just too tantalizing to pass up. And this one came by through our friend and fellow listener Josiah Ward at Josiah4311 on Twitter, who often sends us questions. And I don't think I ran this one past you, did I? On the show notes.
No, you just put fan theory of the week, and I'm like,
Oh
that's
yes.
great. It's just like dot. Like, here we go on the spot. That's fine. And I mean, that's the way we used to roll in the show back in the day. Anyway, I never had notes for the first like 5, 6 episodes, you know. So
No, same.
Yeah, I don't know if people want notes or if you guys want the notes or not. I just put them there and make them available. But anyway,
I like it. It's good that you have the notes up.
yeah, some things I hold back just because I want uh virgin reactions like I
that
do
works
right
out
now,
well.
like we're
That's,
about to get right here and now, guys. So let me read a bit of this, and it comes off Reddit, so you know that the meth consumption was probably pretty high.
You know that it's credible. Yeah.
So this user and I don't user of meth and user of Reddit. There's no name here, so we can't make fun of the person. So he says, I think it would be too direct to have Rey be Luke's daughter. I also think it's implausible for her to be a Palpatine or a Kenobi. However, she most likely has some familiar connection with the Skywalkers, given that Luke Anakin saber is drawn to her and she experiences Force visions when touching it the first time. When Shmi Skywalker was emancipated by Cliegg Lars and married him, there is a window between that and her death that could have easily included the birth of another child. And it goes on and on and on. This fan theory is trying to get you to believe that Rey could be Shmi Skywalker's mom. And you just need to do 5 seconds
math.
of quick math to realize
Yeah.
that if Shmi was the mother, even if it was in the year before she died, Rey would probably be in her 40s.
50s even, no?
It doesn't even matter. She'd be well into her own adulthood and possibly close to middle age. So let's just we can
Didn't
safely
it
call
say
this.
wasn't I think I might have read this at the beginning of the week, just it floating around. But didn't it say something that she would have some kind of like she had descendants who had descendants? So at the time, like the math was kind of correct in that sense.
I don't even know. I don't even, the hell with this. I don't even want to talk about this anymore. It's so stupid, right?
Yeah.
I love your passion for bad theories, Kyle. It's excellent.
But come on, man. Just stop. Anyway, I thought that was worthy of sharing, just for a good laugh.
Yes, thank you.
A few quick things. Because I know we all want to talk about the Rogue One trailer. And that's all everybody's talking about this week, and we'll certainly get there. But let's unpack a bit of the news that came out. And a surprising amount of it came out in the last few days since we got off from our last show, and in no particular order, I guess. So Benicio del Toro says he plays an intergalactic villain in Star Wars Episode 8. And that's kind of verbose intergalactic villain, as in, or as if he'd play anything but, right? So he's let it slip before that he was going to be a bad guy, and then he kind of walked it back a little bit, and he's sort of been all over the place. But now he's sort of reaffirmed that he's going to be playing some villain, and I don't know if you cast Benicio del Toro to do anything but a villain. So not to spend too much time on this, but Benicio del Toro is a villain, right?
It seems that way,
Yeah,
but after, go for it, James.
sorry to cut you off, Corey, but I'm sure I think he's talented enough to play any role, but he just would make such a good intergalactic villain that it's easy to believe.
Yeah,
No.
for sure. Corey, you want to jump in there?
Well, I don't know. I read the article, and yes, I think he's going to be a villain. But the first slip up that he had, and this was kind of more what the article I find was kind of leaning toward, is more like his play on words, in the sense that the first time he said it, he said he's sort of a bad guy, so he doesn't really know if he's like what side he's kind of on. And then this time when he said it, they said there was kind of like a almost like a hint of sarcasm, saying like, well, when you're playing an intergalactic villain, because he probably did take some heat and from the first slip up, that it was kind of almost said as like a joke. But I 100% agree with you. I can't see him doing any other role. Like he's gonna do such just his voice, his eyes. Like I could see this guy doing an amazing job as a villain in this. It's gonna be so cool.
Yeah, I wonder what level of villain is he? Is he gonna be a main bad guy or a middling guy that will just be cannon fodder for episode 8? Because you got a dispatch of a villain somewhere. I
I
wonder
don't
if
know.
he's that guy.
I don't know if this is necessarily the case. I probably I'm almost gonna lean to the side of saying no, but I think I'd like to see him being force sensitive because he just seems so dark.
Yeah,
But maybe
I don't know about
close.
that. I'll take him in whatever permutation they give us. It'll work for me, I suppose. Um,
Bounty Hunter Assassin.
sure, all of those things would work. He just makes everything work. Um, yes, I mean, I guess it would be a little bit easy for this story to get twisted and uh, convoluted because we got it from StarWarsNewsNet.com, and they got it from off a tip, which came from an Italian news source. So there could easily be some broken telephone here or things getting lost in translation.
Exactly.
But I think this is the case of looks like a duck, quacks like a duck. So chances are it's a duck. He's going to be a villain.
No, I agree.
At some point, we will get confirmation on that, but until then, we just have to assume that we're the smartest people on planet Earth and that he is actually a villain. Oh, what's next? I think what came down, was it today, as recently as today, that John Williams is soon going to be uh, actually catching an early cut of episode 8, which is crazy. And then he's going to get to work on scoring the movie, which brings glee, I think, to. Do you think there's any Star Wars fans anywhere that are like, John Williams sucks? Like, his music is just not that good.
Yeah, probably all the guys who boycotted the Star Wars movies because the main character was a woman.
No, the question in and of itself is an oxymoron in the sense that if you don't like John Williams' music in Star Wars, you don't like Star Wars, period.
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement.
Yeah, they're so intertwined. It does so much to the trilogy that if you don't, or all 7 movies, that if you don't like his music, then yeah, you probably don't like the movies. So
It must
with
be
that,
odd though through his eyes, like you just said, like he gets an advanced screening of the movie, right? But there's no score to that movie. It's just dialogue, really, I would guess.
yeah, that's all he would see. He might get some crude sound effects, but
Yeah, exactly.
certainly nothing in any final state. He probably gets a lot of green screen. Everything probably looks very rough. It's just to give him a sense of the tone of the movie, I suppose, the pacing. But still, like it's crazy to me. I wonder what he thinks. Is it just like is he excited? Is he
I was
wanting.
just gonna ask that exact same question. Is he like, oh, I can't wait to find out what happens?
'Cause I guess it's gotta suck in one sense where you don't get to see that final version. Like you'll see it in different states over and over and over as you work through the movie and work through the score, but you never get to have that first time surprise in theater. Like I assume he'll see it in cinema and then see his work, but it'll be all old news to him, and he'll probably be critiquing himself. Um, but yeah, exactly, James. I wonder if he's like rubbing his hands together, saying, "I can't wait to see what they've done," or if it's just sort of all professional that he just needs to get a viewing in so he can start work, and he's just a total professional.
I
Yeah,
think it's a
just
mix of both.
I'm sure he is a total professional, but I don't. Yeah, I don't know if he could write so many touching, exciting, emotional scores and not be a fan of the movies himself. He must,
Exactly.
you know.
Oh,
Yeah. So
he is a fan. I think he said out there he's a huge fan, and he can't wait to write for Ray either.
I think it sounds like it's part of the reason why he wants to stick around is because he doesn't want to give up that character. He doesn't want anybody else writing her, which I think is awesome.
Me
Writing for
too.
the score for her turn to the dark side, you mean?
You had to go there.
Oh yeah.
You had to bring it back there. That's Chop Rules on Twitter if you want to yell at him for turning Ray to the dark side. Come on.
Hey, your Twitter poll was like all about that last week, so it was like
I
a
know.
resounding like, do it.
Yeah, no, there certainly was a majority who wanted to see at least some evil Ray. But I digress. For now, Rebels is coming back, guys. 42 days from now, I believe, is the math on that. September 24th, which is a Saturday night. I'm so happy that they've moved it to Saturday nights at 8:30 as opposed to Thursdays at 9. I think that is a genius move. And James, I don't know if that changes anything for you on your end, but Corey, that's got to be good news for you too.
Yeah, I mean, kind of there goes my Saturday nights in a way, but I can always record it if I really want to do something. But either way, but it's gonna be beautiful. There's something about those times that, like, especially fall, spending that time with the family, like that time of night, like it's gonna be the perfect viewing time. Like it's really well thought out.
No,
It's like family, like start the fire. It's Rebels time. Let's do this, family.
Start the fire.
what
You
is
should try
this?
watching it on a TV.
Oh man, you gotta light a fire. It's gonna be October, it's gonna be fall. It's gonna be awesome. It's just that
So
time of
what you're
season,
saying is you're not going to be watching it at home.
Yeah, I guess. If I don't have a fireplace, but no, but you know what I mean. You get that cozy sense of,
Well, there's
I
the
don't know.
fireplace channel, right?
And then I need
Yeah,
two
you could
TVs.
split screen it.
I actually do have a fake fireplace, a faux fireplace. Like,
Well, there you go.
it's gonna be cozy. That's what I'm talking about. The coziness, Your comfort foods. You had a good meal. It's a nice Saturday night. It's time to sit back and relax.
It makes it way more viewable for me. Thursday nights is impossible. I don't watch any TV during the week. But
And now
once
you can watch it with the kids too,
Saturdays.
probably, James.
What time's it on? My kids go to bed super early, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
me too.
8:30. It's not that's still too late. Except for
It's
my
Yeah,
Nighthawk kids who will still be climbing the walls at 8:30. God,
yeah.
they're brutal.
I got early
I could push it
bedtimers.
with my son. I could push it with my son. If he wants to, he'll stay up for sure.
Yeah, I mean
Oh, they could
that's
stay up, but that's not allowed. They go to
Yeah,
bed
I hear
at
you.
7 every single day, and I'm on board with it. That's my wife mostly, but I'm on board. Like I support that and all, but I'm not allowed to keep the kids up.
No, it's routines are very important for children, man, and getting your kid to bed early is definitely a big part of that for sure.
Yes, I know. I heard already from my wife, Corey.
Yeah, me too.
Holy cow! No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Like I said, it does make all the sense in the world, but sometimes I'm like, man, no, it'd be fun if we could do this thing that's at 8 o'clock. It's not going to kill them once, but love you, sweetheart. She doesn't listen anyway.
that we know of. She
No,
could
no,
be
for sure.
she could be marking all these in a black book and one day just slap you in the face with it.
You're not wrong. She's pretty crafty.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that. So are you. You can just be like after like, hey, I wrote you a song
You're gonna be my agent, Corey. You're great at plugging me.
for sure. And I
Yes,
ask for nothing.
he
Hired.
he works for pro bono. That's not bad. Can't ask for better than that, James. So Rebels is back 42 days from now. It's going to be a long wait, I suppose, but soon it'll be Saturday nights, and instead of watching Hockey Night in Canada like a dutiful Canadian, I will
Flipping
absolutely
back and
be
forth.
flipping over. I'm not even going to flip back and forth. It's going to be okay. Time to turn off the Canadians for now and switch over to Rebels for the next half hour.
Wow.
That's
If
Yeah,
anyone doesn't know my brother Kyle Roussel, this is a very, very big statement.
yeah,
well,
I'm not there with you, Kyle. Hockey comes first for me. There's a Habs game on, I'm definitely PVRing cartoons.
I'm definitely at least switching back on the commercials. I'm going to watch the Habs game in commercials at least.
there's some. I mean, this goes for live sports and for watching Rebels for me. Like they're both something that I consume while watching or sort of sitting there on Twitter, and it's become sort of part of the experience now for me to take in what fandom is saying as I'm watching. It's definitely been that way for me with hockey for years, and now Rebels is for the last couple seasons it's been that way, and it will continue to be that way, I suppose. Um, but anyway, like I said, I'd turn off the Habs, but I guess again it depends who they're playing, what the score is, what the situation is.
Yeah, no,
I'd be
I was gonna ask you, is that the same in May as it is, like, or April as it is in
Well,
November?
luckily the season will end well before the playoffs. Otherwise, yeah, I wouldn't turn off a playoff game, but a November game when we're up 3-0 or down 3-0, I won't have a problem turning it off for half an hour.
You know what? I do that for lots of other shows too. You're right. When they're up early in the season and or down, by a few goals, and yeah, I take it back. You're right.
You know what? I'm thinking I'm almost reworking my plan now. Like sports is fun to watch live. I could tape Rebels, watch the game, put Rebels on after, and then segue right into SNL.
There you go.
Nice, nice.
Now that this means I'm also gonna have to work Saturday nights now because I would always post my review of the newest episode of Rebels to the site like immediately after. I'd watch it and I'd PVR at the same time. So if I had to, I would just restart the episode, give it a second viewing as I wrote out my thoughts on the show. So now I'm working Saturday nights, guys. But
Maybe I'll share the responsibility with you this semester
you're gonna write a few recaps for Rebels.
for sure. It's
There you
my
go.
bag, baby.
Done. I'm excited about Rebels, like
I'm more than excited.
painfully excited. And
Yeah,
we're not going to get into it now. We're going to keep racing along here, but yeah, this is going to be this season will be full of fireworks. And I still believe that somewhere along the line it's going to dovetail with Rogue One. I still believe that.
yeah, we gotta bang that drum. It's gotta happen. It just makes so much sense.
I mean, I don't know what character does the crossover. It could very well be Cassian Andor. He
It
could be
very
that
well could be
crossover.
my buddy Sam.
Hmm.
That would make sense, I suppose, because they already have the model for him done in their archives somewhere. They would just have to age him a little bit.
But not necessarily. Well, maybe if they write it right, because it looks, from according to the trailer, which we're not going to get into yet, but the theory I banged on last week, I got props for on Twitter. Thank you very much, Mark, for noticing that. I really appreciate that. But yeah, like according to this week's trailer, it looks like I possibly might have kind of nailed what his character has been up to.
Go on.
Well, just basically in the sense that Mark had asked us the question in regards to the time jump, first of all, and if Sam Guerrera's hair was a part of that, like in the sense we see him shaved head and scraggly kind of. And my take on it was that basically when we see him scraggly, it's that Jin's kind of searching him out in a way, and they find him, and he's kind of saying like, "Look, the fight's over. Like, look around you. It's over. There's flags everywhere." Like, but she gets him reinvigorated, and when he's ready to join the battle again, he kind of like shaved his head and like, "This is me. Like, let's rock." I
Yeah,
think
it
that's
absolutely sounds like you're right, and I guess that's a good place to segue from Rebels, which we're all excited about, to the deluge of news that we got, or the stories we got from Entertainment Weekly all week long. I think we got 4 bits, and we're not going to go over them all here. We'll touch on a few key points, I think. But since we're talking about Sam Guerrera and Corey's brilliant call that yeah, probably the first guy we see is Saw Gerrera locked up in a cage. The squirrely guy in the corner just gone nuts on his own, and that the bald version we see later in the trailer is after he meets up with Jin, and she, yeah, exactly like Corey said, he pulls her back into the fight, and that sort of all got. I'm not going to go as far as say confirmed, but um, they did say that they made decisions about how the character was going to progress, and they tweaked things along the way, and he finally says at the end of one of his quotes, "You'll see both." So Corey, it sounds like you're right that, and give yourself a pat on the back. I think at this point that he is a guy that was maybe in some kind of semi-exile, semi-retirement, and who's inspired to get back into the fight. So we'll see, but I'm convinced.
yeah. It seems that way.
Pat yourself on the back, Corey.
Thanks, man. I really do appreciate that, guys. But either way, did you hear this? Like he had also said something. Forrest Whitaker had said something about his character Saw that he bears character similarities between himself and Vader, and a lot of people were speculating that this armor or suit that he's wearing is possibly like part life support in a way.
Yeah,
Or are you thinking more, Kyle, that it's the fact that he lost his sister and he's got that dark anger, vengeance within him?
well, it's probably a combo of things. I think it's definitely outwardly it's the suit that both suits keep these guys alive, and I think well he lost his sister, Vader lost his wife and his mom, so but you point to anybody in the Star Wars universe and there's loss there. So I think the suit is the main thing, but um, I think don't forget that in Clone Wars, Anakin and Obi-Wan and Ahsoka trained Saw Gerrera and his cell of rebels.
Yeah, correct.
So there's that similarity, and then I think the other aspect of these two that we'll find interesting is how both sit on opposite sides of the extremes. So you have Vader on the Imperial side as an extremist in his own right, and then Saw Gerrera, who's more or less branded as a terrorist in the galaxy because of his methods. So there'll be that similarity too. Interesting stuff though, and I'm I'm stoked for this character. And
I
I
really am
thought,
too. Like he's taken me back. Like when I first heard he was cast, I was like, big names in Star Wars. It's kind of hard to say like, oh, am I gonna see, you know, Forrest Whitaker? Am I gonna see Saw? And like this last trailer, I was like, okay, like he just looks so good. He's such a great actor.
yeah, well, he's definitely a great actor, and I thought this character was going to be one that just sort of speaks in this movie. I didn't think we would see him in action, and I'm not. I guess I'm not 100% convinced that we'll see him in action, but it's up there. It's probably around 95%.
Yeah, I
Um,
would think so.
what else interesting came up this week? So we got a bunch of news or tidbits, I suppose you can call them, from Entertainment Weekly about Jeddah, which is a new planet we've become introduced to. We got a little bit, actually a lot more of in the trailer, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But the planet Jeddah is basically the a site of pilgrimage for people who believe in the Force, and that there's something of interest in the planet for both Jedi and the Empire. Now, a lot of people theorizing that this point of interest for both sides is the kyber crystals, and
Yep.
that also makes a ton of sense, I think. Um, Anything else interesting about Jeddah came up this week?
Oh, dude, just the fact that just the name of the planet. When I first heard the news, I don't know about you, I was completely blown away. Did you hear about this, James? This week? Like I know you were like Kyle
I
said.
didn't. I've been sort of out of touch, and this didn't catch my radar.
How cool is that though? A planet named Jedha. Like how close to that is Jedi? And the fact that the planet itself is seems to be strewn with kyber crystals, and the Empire's like mine the planet.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
Well, there's a city on planet Earth called Jeddah, and there's also
Yeah.
a sort of a holy city, and it's spelled the exact same way, just with two D's. So a very real world link there.
Interesting.
Um, yeah, interesting approach that they've taken with this planet.
And if you pay attention to the trailer when next time you guys watch it, like basically there's a scene you see them kind of like it's kind of like an action scene, but you see these Imperial troops in the background and they're all pushing these like carts, these orange crates, and people are speculating that inside those crates are like boatloads of kyber crystals. Like that's what they're protecting. You see there's like they're trying to stop them kind of, you know.
Makes sense. There's nothing about that in my mind that doesn't make sense. They drew links again to our world, saying that there's reasons for like they said there's reasons for the Jedi and Empire to have interest here in the same way that I don't know exactly what they were getting at, but in Middle Eastern cities, well, there's a resource there that everybody's after too, and it's under the ground, and we drill for it, we control it, we need it every day. Otherwise, we none of us would be driving our cars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
main energy supply.
Exactly. I imagine that's what they're getting at.
there's something else, Kyle, that you saw it before me, so you should probably say it. But there's a character within the crew, basically that seems to have one. And if that's the case,
Well, we'll get to that, I think, when we get into the trailer.
well, it just touches upon that. Like they're not really easily accessible, so that kind of touches upon this.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, okay, so there's a shot in the trailer um, where Donnie Yen's character is sort of following behind Baze. It's that shot right before he takes out a bunch of stormtroopers from distance. They destroyed our homes. So
And
if you
the
freeze,
bodies go flying.
they
So
don't
he,
go
he
flying.
pegs like four people in a row. He's just like bang,
Oh
bang,
yeah, no,
bang,
no, I
bang.
know that shot. Yeah, I got that shot. Sorry, I only saw it once.
Yeah, we have to go easy on James. He's only seen it once, just a few minutes ago. Lot to take in there. So anyway, it's a nighttime shot, but if you freeze frame that, and some astute person out there did that and posted the screen cap, and there there very much appears to be a kyber crystal at the top of Chirrut's staff,
Which
which
is
I
really interesting because first of all, I didn't see many people on Twitter asking about this. Like Josiah kind of picked it up at one point. You picked it up earlier in the week, but other than that, I didn't see anyone. And this seems like huge to me.
yeah, I think it's a big deal. I mean, I don't know what use the crystal is to Chirrut. We still don't know if he's actually force sensitive or if he's just deluded. If he's just some kind of zealot who believes so strongly in the force yet can't use it. I mean, not to diminish the guy or say he's not effective, but
No, who knows? Maybe it
that, I,
bestows some kind of, like force. I don't know. Gives him some kind of blessing in a way
maybe
because
that,
he
or
can fight.
it's just could be just ornamental for him, right? Or similar to people here wearing the
It's
Star of David
symbolic.
or wearing the cross or something like that, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, or
this
supporting their favorite team. Like, you know,
It's
go Kyber crystals.
it's like
go
wearing a Dolphins
go
jersey.
you guys. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah. So anyway, I'm super stoked about this Jeddah place. I think it's going to be really interesting because there's a theory going around, and when it first crossed my eyeballs, I totally bought it, and it's never been debunked or confirmed. And apparently, the Ahsoka novel coming out in the fall will shed a lot of light. But in the Clone Wars episode where the younglings visit Ilum to get their own to go on their own quest to get their own lightsaber crystals, it's that wintry planet, like a frozen. The whole
Yeah,
place is a frozen wasteland.
it's got a 19-day cycle, like 19 days, 24-hour days for one rotation.
Sure, but there's a theory, and it's a strong one, and I believe it until it's debunked. I believe this to be true. That planet is Starkiller Base.
Hmm.
Oh, interesting.
That would
Um,
be sad. That would be really sad because it's a Jedi temple more or less. Like it's a Jedi safe. It's a Jedi right of knowledge basically, from what we know. It's a
yeah,
like
it was.
wintry
Yeah,
planet, like rich in kyber crystals.
no, I don't know. The reason people like myself so strongly believed it is because when you overlay a map of where Starkiller Base is, or compare the galactic map and where the Starkiller Base is to where Ilum is on the Star Wars map, they're in the same spot.
Oh wow, who found that out?
Hell if I know.
That's amazing. That's a find too.
Yeah, so and I mean they're almost in exactly the same spot. So for two planets to be in the same spot on the map, to me spells it out pretty clearly. And there's starting to be some drips and drabs from people that have already, I think, at least gotten hands on a advanced copy of the Ahsoka novel that are saying, yeah, you're going to want to read that book. So I think without saying or without confirming any further details, we know that something big is going to come. And I wouldn't be shocked if we find out that Ilum became Starkiller Base.
That's incredible.
But again, what would that place or what would the weapon need with kyber crystals? Because they say that the weapon is powered by the power of the sun. Nowhere along the line did they mention any kind of kyber crystal.
Maybe they need to get to like 88 miles an hour first, or like maybe they need that initial boost to be able to suck the power from the sun or something.
Or maybe the power is channeled through the crystal or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense too. And James, just on a side note, if ever, if you ever get Netflix and whatnot, I'll say that that episode I think is the perfect entryway for any kid to get into Star Wars. It's really great, really good storytelling, and just good for kids.
It's
Awesome.
it's good for kids.
It's Corey approved.
Wholesome.
Anyway, so yeah, just to close up here on Jeddah, Donnie Yen confirmed in an interview at Celebration that Jeddah is it's a planet that has crystals in it.
That's incredible. There you
I don't
go.
I
It's
don't
all
I don't
coming
know
together.
I don't know if he was supposed to say that. I'm gonna guess he wasn't, but he did.
Well, him and Baze, the pair of them had some big spoilers then.
Indeed they did. So there's that. There was some stuff also from EW about the droid, Alan Tudyk's droid, which was kind of cool, but I think we'll skip that. I don't think there's a ton there really worthwhile talking about.
Just to say that he looks so incredibly cool.
Yeah,
Right, James?
Absolutely. 100%.
he does look great to me. I was worried. I was really worried that they would go too far with him and turn him into like some sort of Inspector Gadget type with an array of weapons that just would be too tacky. But I'm relieved. I think he's going to be exactly what I hope he is. And he's just a simple, funny character.
Yeah, he's got a 97.6% chance of making you laugh and hurting other people.
Nice one. Last bit of news before we delve into the Rogue One trailer is casting for young Lando is underway as part of the Han Solo spin-off movie. And color me not surprised. I don't think anybody really is. But I think every fan, like usually fans don't get what they want when it comes to casting. But apparently Donald Glover, who you guys may know, if you watched Community, you know who Donald Glover is. If you didn't, you probably have no idea. But he also did the voice of Miles Morales slash Ultimate Spider-Man in the current Spider-Man cartoon. And
Ooh.
apparently he's up for the role and is considered to be the favorite.
And he's Murtaugh's son.
He's Murtaugh's son, really?
Isn't he Danny Glover's son? No?
Is he?
I'm pretty sure, no?
That would be awesome if he was.
I
He's
thought
no,
so
I'm looking
anyhow.
here. It's an IMDb profile. He is, despite rumors, not related to actor Danny Glover.
Okay, my bad. Are you on the Google machine right now, James, as well?
I could be, yes.
Okay.
Was that just like a random question?
Yeah, just whatever. Like I had a few of my own choices for who should be Lando.
Andrew, you got
Fire away.
Okay, well, my fourth choice was Michael B. Jordan. I don't know if you know these guys, just skip, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I
You
I
know,
know he is.
my third choice was Donald Glover. My second choice was Wesley Jonathan.
Explain.
Just pure looks.
What's
I
he
don't know who
from?
that is, so I'm looking at him now. Hang on. And yes, good look
I
for
could
young
see,
Lando.
yeah, I could see his the voice too, bassy, smooth.
Wesley Jonathan. Let me look this guy up.
Yeah, no, that's a good one, Corey. I like that.
You're gonna like my number
Some
one.
look.
First of all, I couldn't believe that my number one when I actually saw this guy's name. I was totally blown away. I was like, but my number one's also kind of cliche because he really seems like a kind of a handsome male, if I will.
Who is it?
I'm not editing a drum roll, so
Okay, like I just wanted to make sure you caught Wesley. You saw who Wesley Jonathan was.
yeah.
Yes.
It looks
Okay,
like he looks like he could do the part.
this guy's name, the last guy I saw, his name was Texas Battle.
What?
Texas Battle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
That's a pretty badass name.
I know.
He's
I
a,
was like,
he's a cool
really?
looking dude too.
I think his middle name is Quincy.
Quincy
Quincy,
with an
yeah.
E. Yeah, Quincy with an E. Oh, dude, he's a
Um,
soap opera actor.
oh, perfect for Lando. Yeah, no, I think I'm gonna bang the drum for this guy. Texas
You're
Battle
you're
for
looking at him.
Lando.
This
Yeah,
guy this
man.
guy does look the part. He'd be perfect.
Yeah, he's kind of like 21st Century Pretty Boy remake of the character.
And he's 40 years old, so the timing is pretty well right. Well, and that's part of the problem, though, unfortunately, is that it's tough to introduce guys in their 40s to this type of audience. So somewhere with some dork with a clipboard and armed with notes from a focus group is going to say that they need a 25-year-old. Because
Yeah.
I think that's often how these things work.
And that's my one problem with Donald Glover too, is that he just seems so young. If they're trying to say that, I don't know, I always got the impression that Lando was kind of a few years older.
Yeah, yeah, you'd be right about that. But Donald Glover is 30 something.
Still, he looks young.
You are correct. But I think that can be taken care of.
Texas Battle.
Is that your
I
your
just can't believe this guy's name. When I was like, who is this guy? And then I was like, I was almost lost. I was like, what's going on here? Why is this telling me Texas Battle? And I'm like, oh my God, that's his name?
That's a pretty that can't be his real name,
It can't be.
or maybe it just is. All right, that was it for this real all the real Star Wars news this week, I think. And we kind of
Just one
raced
last
through
thing
it
on
there.
that. Did you hear the code name for what the character's casting call it is?
Chance.
Yeah, very cool name.
Absolutely. All right, so I mean, the reason why we're here this week, we want to talk about the Rogue One trailer. And James, it's fresh in your mind, so why don't you slap us with your first impression since 20 minutes ago you hadn't seen this before.
No, absolutely. Like I said, I was completely disconnected and unplugged all weekend, so I was looking forward to it, and I didn't have the environment either. Like there was never an opportunity where it wasn't we weren't either golfing or, um, being loud, obnoxious guys hanging out together. So I sort of saved it. Like I could have gone on the Wi-Fi and gone into the clubhouse and watched it, but I sort of saved it for when I got home. And I was not disappointed at all, with very high expectations. Although I did find it. This isn't necessarily a negative, but I found the trailer a bit long, and as much as I love to get stuff, I don't like. I'm never a fan of trailers that give away too much. I'm not saying this one did give away too much. It didn't at all. They did, they confirmed some stuff for some people, but uh, I don't know. I found it to be a bit long. It could have been like 10, 15 seconds less long for me. But man, is it good! I got excited. I got like shivers and chills. The music, the pacing of the music at the beginning is so good. Yeah, blown away.
Yeah, blown away is probably a pretty good word. And like you said at the beginning, the expectations are being raised almost on a daily basis for this movie. And so for the trailer to have ticked all the boxes and made me wanting more and just making me feel like this whole entire project is really right on track. They did that, and I can for anybody who wants to press the panic button, I mean, I think they're just doing so just to be contrarian at this point. There's nothing about anything that I've seen that doesn't make it look like this movie is going to be just so spot on. Everything about this movie looks great. What do you think,
Yeah,
Corey?
they just finished the reshoots, right? So this is like a slap in the face to all the people that you, like you just said, were panicking, like saying toy, you know, like. But I was blown away too. You remember last week we had described that, or we had said James had mentioned we should film our reactions, right? So I'm sitting there watching. I got in late too. I was like waiting, and then finally around like 9 something, I said 9 Eastern time. I'm gonna finally sit in on this. I'm gonna catch it and I'm gonna record it. And I didn't plan on recording myself, although I should have, because I've been watching the Olympics for the last 2 hours, and it was great too. I saw a lot of cool stuff with Michael Phelps and our own Penny,
Yeah,
winning
Penny
whatever.
Alexiak.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
she's
won a
awesome.
gold, 16 years old.
Four medals at the Olympics so far.
Incredible. So anyhow, I'm watching, and then it finally comes on. I'm like, and I was just tweeting you at the same time, like, just hang in there just a little longer, stay on target. Then boom, I tweet it, and it's on. I press record, and then I'm literally about like right in front of my TV screen, just sitting there watching it. Like I'm like, I couldn't be any closer. About 45 seconds into it, like we've been having some wonky weather out here with the humidity. My satellite decides to go out.
Oh no.
Oh,
Yes.
of course.
It kicked back in about, I was out probably for about 20 seconds. I almost put a
That's
hole through my wall, dude. Like, seriously, I was like, no, no. Of course, it was like Murphy's Law.
of course. You wait for 3 hours for something, and then for 20 seconds, it just screws you.
But
Oh, that's
regardless,
brutal.
I didn't get that mad because it was literally online like a second later.
Yeah.
and I caught the end of it. I didn't really miss all that much, but just the visuals, everything about that trailer blew me away. There's so many cool visuals, so many scenes to talk about, so much to take away from it. Like
Yeah, and we're not going to
worth the
do
treat.
a shot by shot breakdown here. I think we're just giving our impressions, and if anything specific stands out to you, then by all means say so. Um, one thing that stood out to me right off the bat, and how could it not, was that Star Destroyer parked right over Jeddah, just sitting there, and
Awesome.
it reminded me of Independence Day with all those ships parked over the one parked over the White House, one parked, every city had one sort of sitting right on top of it, ready to stamp it out. That's the immediate visual that came to mind. But I'm so happy that they seem, and I'm including the Force Awakens in this, that they're using Star Destroyers, which are so striking. That triangular, angular shape that they've got. They're using those as sort of focuses of huge visuals with
Yeah,
scale
reference.
and drama in each shot. So go back to Force Awakens and you have the crashed Star Destroyer in the Jakku Desert, and how many shots, including the interior, and then from the exterior with Rey, that just you never got uh, that type of shot in the originals, and even in the prequels of all the capital ships, you never got that. And it was a Star Destroyer in A New Hope, right off the hop after the opening scroll, that pulled me in as a kid. It was just that the impression of a ship that big. That was the hook, line, and sinker moment for me. And to see them picking that up again here in Rogue One, so the ship parked over Jeddah, uh, man, just so many cool visuals. The starter that white brand new Star Destroyer emerging from the shadow, like a brand
Yeah.
new car off the lot, except it's a Star Destroyer and not like a rinky dink car.
Well, that's like a double whammy that scene because you also see that that piece, the last piece of the Death Star, like the gun of the Death Star, kind of getting
Yeah, and we had
put
seen
into
that shot
place.
before, but that shot doesn't get old.
No, it's beautiful. When I saw that the first time, I was like, oh, this is so good.
Yeah, and the music was super different. Like it was
I
almost
love
like
the
a
music.
yeah, it's sort of a upbeat version of the Imperial March, which when I
It's a
say that,
desperate. It seems panicked and desperate almost, you know?
yeah, it almost doesn't make sense, but when listening to it, it sounds really cool. I don't know if that's music written for the movie or if it's music written for the trailer, because again, think back to the Force Awakens trailer, the Thanksgiving Day one, I believe it was. None of that music made it into the movie. So I think it's probably the same case here where it's music made specially for the trailer.
Either
Um,
way, so cool.
so cool.
Yeah.
We talked about Donnie Yen's character with the Kyber crystal in his staff. If that plays a role, who knows? Oh,
It's
he looks
amazing.
like,
That's amazing. That's big
yeah.
news. That's huge news.
Well, I think again, like in the whole everything is connected vein, I think this movie is going to feed a lot of, or give us a lot of more information about the Star Wars galaxy instead of just telling a short and sweet, confined little story. I mean, it will do that, but it's also going to give us a bunch of information that either we wanted to have filled for us or we didn't know we wanted to have filled, which
Well,
I
by
think
this
is,
point, I think I have a very skeleton structure of how the movie's going to go in my head. I think it's out there. I think anyone can really put it together.
oh yeah, I mean, well, assemble a group of rebels, they go get the plans. I don't think it's
But even including Galen Erso as well, like he's kind of taken against his will. Jin takes off as a young child on her own, becomes kind of a radical, and she's taken into custody, and we need you, and it's all dramatic, and because her father's involved, and
yeah, like in some respects it'll be a case of we've seen this movie before. Uh, but because it's Star Wars, it's going to feel completely fresh and totally new, and we won't care one bit if we've seen this movie before in some other um, other form, right?
No, of course not.
Yeah, no,
It
that's
just looks
exactly
so
right.
amazing. It looks so amazing.
It's hard to make. Um, Obviously, you can write an original story, set in any um, setting, or you can. Star Wars movies have all the pieces to be individual awesome movies on their own, but there are themes that keep coming back and repeating themselves through the movies, and that's inevitably going to happen again with Episode 8 and Rogue One. Um, but man, I'm so down to see that movie again.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I think opening night, I think we'll all be there again, right?
Of course.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple visuals also, like back to back to back. It's the X-wings flying through those canyons at night with the
That
headlights
was
on.
beautiful.
Oh,
Beautiful.
that's a cool shot. Come on, that
Amazing.
is. And seeing
I got I
big.
got I got two that tie in together. The shot of the Death Star, which kind of everyone's I heard I was reading some tweets about Pablo Hidalgo. He's getting all this heat. Like, how does this make sense? You see
Poor
the Death
Pablo,
Stars up.
man.
What's that?
Poor Pablo. People just.
Whatever. Yeah, they're horrible. It's like, get over it. Like, look, they're in space. There's no gravity. Wherever they choose to be is upright. And it makes sense when you see it, the way they're positioned. Like, everything makes sense, and everyone's trying to like, doesn't make sense. Blah blah blah. Like, oh, that's horrible. But just that, and I think that is also the scene when you see him on that ship, Director Krennic on that ship, looking so mean and menacing, and that one shot of the Death Star being there. I also think that's the scene of the eclipse that you see.
Yeah, it
Like,
could be.
um, that is a beautiful scene too. It's got to be the Death Star, obviously, blocking out the sun.
Yeah, I would say so. That makes perfect sense. Now, something that surprised a lot of people. Um, Actually, I'll back up a little bit. So a few weeks ago, I had written a piece on the site that asked whether or not the Death Star is going to fire in Rogue One, and I believe that it will. At least initially, I did, and I felt that in order to establish the Death Star as a threat, and for the movie to stand on its own, you as a viewer, you need to understand what the Death Star is capable of. So somebody's going to have to suffer at the hands of the Death Star to some degree. Um, and I think what they've done here in this movie is spoiled, confirmed. Take your pick. But I didn't know previous to this trailer that the Death Star would be at Jeddah, and yet there it is, hanging upside down, and looks to be turning to point itself towards Jeddah. Now, I was talking to Mark over at Talk Star Wars about this, and he was thinking that I think initially, around the same time that I wrote my piece, that the Death Star wasn't going to fire. That the line in A New Hope where Tarkin says that they're going to test this station, the station's destructive power on Alderaan, meant that the Death Star never managed to fire, and that the rebels were successful in sabotaging the Death Star, at least to some degree. And that seemed fair. And for a while, I was like, you know what, Mark's probably right. But now in this trailer, I think it's all but clear that the Death Star probably takes a pot shot at Jeddah.
That's
Go ahead.
that's very possible. I'm almost I was listening to Jason Ward at Making Star Wars, and he has a different kind of take on it in the sense that, yeah, okay, maybe your pot shot theory might work, but your pot shot might trigger the cataclysm in the sense that the planet's been so like it's been mined so badly that it kind of like it's hollow on the inside almost, like they've just mined the crap out of this planet, and it can't sustain itself anymore, and it kind of implodes on itself, which in a way would still give a gravitas to this of what the Death Star is. It's still capable of destroying planets, even though having not used its weapon.
Yeah, I suppose that could be that too. Uh, the way I'm looking at it is that the Empire knows. Well, and I wrote this in my piece that um, perhaps the Empire knows that. Actually, it was before I thought that the Death Star would go to Jeddah. I initially meant this for Scarif, where in a way a way for the Empire to erase their tracks on Scarif as well as wipe out the rebels. That they would turn the Death Star on Scarif and blow it out of the sky, just to get rid of it, to erase the evidence. But I think what we're going to see here is the Empire knowing that the rebels are down on Jeddah, and that even though maybe the Death Star is not quite ready to fire, you could maybe possibly shoot,
Nuke a continent.
yeah, nuke a continent and wipe a city off the map. You could just give it a little bit of power, and I think it's around the 135, 140 mark of the trailer. You see what looks like their shuttle or their U-wing escaping under a crumbling mountain. And so, in my mind, at least, what's going on here is that the mountaintop or that hilltop city of Jeddah has been nuked and is crumbling, and you have the rebels trying to escape from under all this falling debris. I think that the city of Jeddah has been wrecked. So it would give you a sense of what the Death Star can do. And they would also tell you, look, this is the Death Star at 10% power kind of thing. And it just completely incinerates a city on the planet below. So that's where I'm at with that. What do you guys think?
I think
Yeah, it's a good theory.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think what you just said is makes a lot of sense to me. The 10%. That's a good way for them, because then you can extrapolate, and so they blow up, something pretty sizable, but not a whole planet. I think that makes sense it gives the fans what they need to know in terms of being afraid of that weapon for the heroes and the fans and the characters we're invested in. I think at 10%, I bet you they use that number. I bet you they say this is 10%.
Yeah, something like that. A
Yep.
fraction of the power. And like you said, it encapsulates everything that the fan needs to know, because everything you're invested in is in that city. So if you can
Right.
wipe that off the city, you suddenly let moviegoers know that this can destroy everything that you care about.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they either add more kyber crystals to the laser dish array, or they just turn the dial up to 11 when they nuke Alderaan.
I'm reminded of that scene when Wesley gets tortured in The Princess Bride.
This is pretty shameful, but I don't even think I've ever seen
That
Princess
is
Dude,
Bride.
that is
your kids
shameful.
will love that, man.
You'll love it. And you know what? It's cheesy and corny and 20 or 25 years old, or I don't know how old it is now, but I bet you it holds up. I haven't seen it in a bunch of years, but I bet it holds up.
Like I've
It
seen bits and
does.
pieces of it, but I don't think I've ever sat and watched the whole thing front to back.
You really should.
I've been told. I think it's one of my wife's favorite movies too, and I'm just like, nah, maybe one day.
It's the title that's throwing you off. Trust me, it's a good story. Really good to watch with the kids too.
Oh, for sure.
I'm sure we'll get around to it. Um, I feel like there's more to say about this trailer. Have we tapped
I
out
got a
already?
few. No, I haven't. I got a few things to say. Um, ah, first, kind of like, I just want to get
Good
this out
save.
there.
Very good save.
Do you think we'll ever see the because it kind of could be cool, but it almost seems weird to me. Like, will we ever see the Death Star jump to hyperspace?
I kind of hope not, because I think that would be goofy.
Yeah, it seems a bit, eh?
Yeah, I think that would be kind of goofy. I mean, at least with a ship, you can always see the front of the ship and the back of the ship, and the Death Star is just like this sphere that would just suddenly disappear in a certain direction? I don't know. I wouldn't mind if it jumped to hyperspace and you get like you're with people on board the Death Star and it shakes or something or rumbles, and they go, "Oh God, like we just jumped into hyperspace." But to see it actually jump, I think that might be a little weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It might be hard to pull off.
But ultimately, I think that's a small potatoes type of nitpick, right?
What about this? Do you think there's a small chance we might see a young Lourdes Santeca, or possibly maybe even Maz?
How much younger do you think she's gonna look?
She'll look the same,
She will look virtually identical. They've learned their mistake with Yoda
just a
in the
different
Phantom
pair of
Menace.
glasses.
Yeah, they could change her outfit a little bit, maybe make a couple of wrinkles a little less deep, but otherwise, no, I think she would look identical, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Um, I I don't know. Maybe I could picture Maz on this. Lor
I picture
Santeca, I
more.
don't know.
I picture more or less Lourdes Santeca. Like,
He wouldn't be that much young. He'd still be a 50-year-old guy in this.
yeah, yeah, you're right. I was picturing him younger, to be honest.
Though I don't know. I think it's a low percentage we see either, to be honest with you. I don't see any reason why they would be there.
Well, why wouldn't he be there? He's a disciple of the Force. No, he's all up in the.
Oh yeah, he's a member of the Church of the Force, but it's a site of pilgrimage. So you would only go there as part of a pilgrimage. You wouldn't necessarily live there.
Well, it looks like there's a lot of people there that live there. No.
Yeah, again, maybe he is. Maybe he does. Maybe he is there. I wouldn't want them to put him in there just because. Like you'd have to give that guy something to do. Same with Maz.
It gives credence to the Force Awakens in the sense if you see him in this one, like you see him again in the Force Awakens, and you're kind of like, okay, like he's
Oh,
been through a lot.
I'm all for that type of long game continuity. But again, like if you're gonna put him in, just don't have him as sort of window dressing. Give that guy something to do.
Yeah, I agree. He's got to get off the planet before it's destroyed. So
Well, you know he would.
yeah,
But I also feel like if he knew what was going on, he'd probably stick around, right? Like he wouldn't be like, "Oh, you guys are about to do this to the Empire? Oh, that sounds dangerous. I'm gonna go." You got to imagine he'd probably stick around. So I don't think you'd see him. And Maz is probably operating her watering hole.
Or she's hanging out with Chewie.
yeah.
Ooh. No. Come on. It's a family show. We don't need to get really that kind of weird here.
We didn't do it.
Oh, they're just
Right.
hanging out, right? They're just hanging out, right?
That's it.
By the way, the last two visuals I want to point. Next time you watch the trailer, James, check these ones
Yes.
out. There's a scene where Baze has like a rocket launcher, basically, and he
Awesome
nails
shot.
it just
I
where,
remember it already.
yeah,
And
and
just
that's where
deflects the AT-AT, like just sort of turns its head to the side.
such a good visual, just the way that it gets hit in the face, and it's like, ooh.
Yeah, it looks like
But
a dog.
It's almost exactly where this character Rex from the Clone Wars is telling characters from Rebels, like, you want to take one down, you got to hit it in that general area, like right in the neck. So you can see he's kind of going for that point, and he almost nails it bang on. And the last scene is that scene with Jin where she's limping. You see she has basically a physical limp, and she's on some kind of platform, and that TIE fighter rises up in front of her.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
both
that's a
of those
cool
scenes
shot
stood
too.
out enough for me to remember exactly what you're talking about. On one viewing, those were both standouts for sure.
Yeah,
I like how the Sorry, I like how the stormtroopers go flying. There's an explosion at one point halfway through the trailer where, like, you see the bodies of the stormtroopers just sort of explode.
Shocked.
Oh, it looks really. I find the visuals just look so good. The movie looks good.
Yeah, because they did more hands-on, like they were saying in the featurette, basically the Sizzler. So, like you had pointed this out in the podcast, basically how they had mentioned, we're getting all these new shots by filming live and not using green screen. We're figuring all this stuff that maybe not we wouldn't have done before.
Yeah, exactly. I do remember that. Very, very cool.
Yeah, I can just watch this trailer over and over. It's almost a perfect trailer to me.
Yeah, it really
Over
is.
And
I'm kind of disappointed that James said that you thought it was a little too long. I thought it was just perfect.
No, see, I know Maybe I said it wrong. I love everything we got, but I sometimes don't watch trailers at all. I just don't like to. I don't like to have too much. I really like to save them. Can you imagine if you saw that at rocket launcher scene for the first time on a big screen with the sound and the man? What an experience that is, you know?
No,
Yeah,
I agree. Star
Yeah,
Wars
you-
isn't like this either, but there are certain movies, like literally certain trailers that are like 3 minutes long where you don't need
The
to
whole,
see the movie. You just
you know.
saw it.
Oh no, that's why I'm trying to distinguish between that. I don't think that I'm not saying that the movie gave away too much plot or told the whole story. It's just now I've seen those scenes on my little tablet, and I don't get to like get the shivers when I see them for the first time. So I don't know if I'm gonna watch any more trailers, but I love this one.
yeah.
It's
I
funny.
think at most we get one more. But yeah, this if we don't get another one, I'm good with this one. I think.
Yeah, yeah.
I keep going back to that shot of the X-wings flying through that canyon and then strafing that Imperial stronghold at night. Oh, you can
Yeah,
hear
it
the
looks so
the, the
sweet.
whine of the classic whine of the X-wing engines. So awesome. So here's a question for you. So that TIE fighter that rises up to meet Jin,
Who's in it?
yeah, is it a friendly or foe?
Friendly.
I don't know.
Supposed to think supposed to think it's foe, but could it be a buddy of theirs
Took it
piloting
over.
that
Yeah.
thing?
Like, is it gonna shoot her? Oh no, there's whoever just
Somebody
saved the
pops
day.
the top and says hop in, right?
Exactly.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
It
And
could
that's
be
what I
other.
mean. To go back to that point we were saying before, that's, you've seen that movie before, you've seen that scene before, but it's still going to be awesome.
It's still gonna be so awesome.
Exactly.
Now, yeah, whether it's an enemy and somebody comes swooping in an X-wing to take out that TIE fighter, or someone pops a top and says get in. Yeah, we've seen that. We've seen both those movies before.
Yeah.
But so what? Who cares? Um, Anything else, boys, before we take a break?
No, I'm good. It's time to eat.
Yeah, I'm hungry.
Well, I think if there's one character here that's going to cross over to Rebels, Corey, I think it's going to be Cassian Andor. And I say that because of the line where he says that he's been recruiting for the rebellion for a long time. So I wonder if he's the guy that crosses at one point and makes a quick appearance saying, here's a bunch of new recruits.
You know
And
what?
then just
I was thinking about that too. Aside from Baze and Chirrut, I could see Bodhi being in it at one point. I could see K2 being in it.
well,
No,
K2 would go where
yeah,
Andor goes.
you're right. Yeah, supposedly he's been with Andor for at least 2 years.
Yeah, I don't know what the number is on that, but probably.
That's what I heard. I read an article I read. It's at least 2 years they've been together.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to be a long. How many days are we until Rogue One comes out? 123 days. This is that point now where it's going to start to drag.
Oh man, soon we're gonna be at 100. Then it's gonna be 75.
What comes next?
74.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree that it's feeling long because we keep every week we do the show, we get 7 days closer out of hundreds. But I think Cordy's got a point. When it gets into double digits, I don't know. I think it may start feeling a little faster.
Yeah, maybe. Well, especially once our sporting seasons start picking up and Rebels will come back. There'll be lots of things to fill our days. Oh, and just as I say that, faithful listener Steven says hi, or he doesn't say hi, but he's asking if we're recording, and I said as we speak. So, shout out, Steven. How's it going, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, Steve?
So are we ready to take a break?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's
Yeah.
do that, and we'll come back and we will get a little bit random. So stick around. We'll be back in a couple minutes. Until then, have a little promo from the guys that talk Star Wars.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
We need to record a promo for the podcast. You got any suggestions?
Well, we need to keep it as simple as possible.
That sounds good.
Something like, if you like Star Wars and you listen to podcasts, you should check out the Talk Star Wars podcast on iTunes.
Or we could really motivate people to listen.
What do you have in mind?
Well, you could tell people they should listen to Talk Star Wars, or they will feel the power of a fully armed and operational battle station.
No. You can't do that.
Why?
We can't threaten people.
Oh.
Steve's right. Simple is probably best. Like this. I'm Mark.
I'm Stephen.
And I'm Rob.
If you love Star Wars,
and you listen to podcasts,
then you should check out our show, Talk Star Wars.
You can subscribe to Talk Star Wars on iTunes.
And find us on Stitcher Radio.
And find full episodes of the podcast on our YouTube channel.
You can find the podcast and everything else we do at talkstarwars.co.uk.
And you can play with us on Twitter by following @TalkStarWars.
You should also head to facebook.com/TalkStarWars and like our Facebook page.
Or we will strike you down with all of our hatred and your journey towards the dark side will be complete.
That's not cool.
I've said it now.
Head to talkstarwars.co.uk and join us as we talk Star Wars.
Or else.
And we're back, folks, and it's time to get random here with a bunch of scattered, erratic thoughts that we've had kicking around our minds for the last little while, and a couple of listener questions. Wow, is everything okay over there?
Sorry, I'm going to be okay.
Okay, so let's kick it off here with Rob, our good buddy Rob at Talk Star Wars. He wants to know is there anything they can do in Episode 8 that will make you hate this movie? Corey, why don't you lead with this one?
Yes, I guess, if you want to put it that way, like on the broad, grand scheme of things, any movie can turn me away if they just botch it, right? But as I've said before in this franchise, at the moment, I pretty much have blind faith, so I'm really not too worried. The only thing I can really think is maybe bring back Jar Jar, or maybe finding out Jar Jar Snoke. That would kind of dissuade me quite a bit.
That would set fandom on fire. It would start a fire that would never go out. James, what about you? Anything that they can do that you just punt this movie out the window and say, I'm never watching that again? Like Batman v Superman.
I'm never watching that movie again, that's for sure. Okay, well, I'll answer it like generally. In general, I mean. Of course, there's millions of things they can do that would make me not like it. But I think the question we're supposed to answer more specifically, what could they do to make you hate it? And I just worry about the things that would make me not like the movie aren't plot related so much as how are they going to take the time to make things congruent? Are they going to take the time to make things look right, like they did with The Force Awakens, like the Rogue One trailer looks? Because one of my big problems with the prequels is you didn't get that. I didn't get nearly as many jaw-dropping moments like the one you described you had when you saw the Star Destroyer floating over the planet in the Rogue One trailer, and so I don't want them to take steps backwards and have this movie look like the prequels. I hope it's just more steps forward like The Force Awakens was and how the movie looks. That's my biggest concern.
I think Disney's turning what they're doing with this franchise into an art form, and they're going to perfect it to a T, and they're going to give us... So far, they haven't proven us wrong, and this trailer was just another representation of that. They know what we want, and they're going to market it the right way.
Yeah, I have no doubt. I'm not. It's not a concern that I'm like, oh no, this movie's not going to look good. I have no reason to think that. But that would be something that if the movie, if the movie just didn't look as good as I just love watching. I love watching The Force Awakens. I did it. I don't know if I told you guys this, but I saw it with my brother like 10 days ago, and that's maybe fifth viewing or something for me. And every time I watch it, I catch something else that I didn't see before, because it's just such a well-designed movie, such a good-looking movie.
Yeah, I've been watching it quite a bit lately as well. I think I watched it 3 times in the past 2 weeks.
Oh, nice. My brother hadn't
I think
seen it
more
yet, so that was sort of fun. I like watching movies with,
and
or first time experience kind of thing. He really liked it too.
really, eh? You hadn't seen it prior?
No, no,
Wow.
he's not a Star Wars fan at all. Like not that he doesn't like the movies, but like that's just not his bag. He doesn't go out of his way. But he really liked this one, as as well he should.
Yeah, it's a very, very watchable movie. Um,
Disney's definitely got their ear to the ground, but they have to have their own mission as well. Like, I guess something that can turn me away too is too much fan servicing. But at the same time, I just think if they do service the fans, they're gonna do it properly. They're not gonna like oversaturate it. Like this movie, The Force Awakens, for a lot of people, walked that very fine line where they almost thought it was a New Hope reboot.
Oh, I
I
hate
think
that
we're gonna
argument.
start to we're gonna start to get further and further away from. We're gonna take parallels, yes, but we're gonna get further away from what it was, and it's gonna be its own story.
I would agree with that. Um, for me, it's very simple. If they kill Chewie, I will be very angry. Hate's a strong word. I don't know if I would hate the movie. Um, what could they do if it? Oh God, what could they do to make me hate the movie? Like I said, killing Chewie would be a good start.
What if Chewie
Uh,
has to die eventually by natural causes, Kyle?
What do you mean? What
Like
if?
Yoda did.
well,
Because like
if he
Wookiees
lives
live
to be a
like
full age
200
Wookiee,
years.
no, they live to like 500 or something.
Wow.
Chewie is 200. They live to like 500. There's no worries about Chewie dying of natural causes.
So he's in his prime.
Yeah, he's in his prime. Um, yeah, like you said, James. I guess there's a million little things that could add up to just having a movie feel not right, and you're just like, no, it doesn't look or sound or feel right. But specific incidents in the movie. Well, here's one that I suppose could never really come to pass, but a bad soundtrack. I think that would hurt it for me.
I think that's the like audio version of my answer. Like if it sounds bad, it's the same thing. These movies have sounded so good. You just want them to be more of what we love. So if they don't give us more of what we love, then we won't like it.
Yeah, because
I,
I've been a little bit afraid of, and this is a fear really without any base. Um, but I've been a little bit afraid of Ryan Johnson trying to be too clever, too smart, too this or that, too edgy, too fresh, too I don't know. Um, and straying too far away from what Star Wars has been established as, just to put his stamp on it, or going too far off in order to set a new direction. I'm afraid of that. I still am afraid of that.
I don't
Um,
think that's gonna happen. Disney knows what they're doing. Just they've said it before in the past too that it's gonna be a darker film, but that's what we want right now. It's the middle arc. It's the winter season of this franchise. It's only gonna get worse.
yeah, I know, but I mean, within that framework, you could still do 1,000 things where it could feel or not feel like Star Wars. Like, there's a couple of sets like that don't quite feel Star Wars-ish to me. But again,
Like what?
you have to wait for it to all come together. Like I don't want to judge like the stuff, some of the stuff that they shot in
You're talking about space tuxedos.
some of the space tuxedos. And I don't know if they're actual costumes from the movie or if they're to conceal what the actual outfit is for the movie. But those look a little weird to me. Again, I'm going to reserve judgment, obviously, until I see the movie. But I am a little bit afraid, and it'll be one case of being very happy to be wrong. So Rob, there you go. I guess it's tough to pinpoint, but I guess the answer is always a yes. They could. I don't want to ever be that guy that says nope. I don't care what they do. I will love it. I'm not so blindly devoted to anything. I don't think, except probably my children. That if they if they did something in Star Wars that was off the mark, I'd call them out on it. Anyway, that's
Yeah,
my
I'm
take
on
on
that
that.
same page too. Like I have 100% faith in them, but I can also be let down in that same regard. But at the same time, I just don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, no,
I don't know, Evercore, you said they're never, in our lifetimes, we're never going to see a bad Star Wars movie.
No, I'm still standing by that. They got I yeah, I'm still
well, that was
standing by
last
it.
week you said that, right?
Yeah.
And
There's
there'll
plenty
be
of Star
people that
Wars to
will
talk
argue
about.
with you that half of the Star Wars movies that currently exist are bad.
Well, and I love
But his
the people.
statement, to be fair, he said we won't get any going forward.
Right. Yeah, fair enough.
Like I said, they're just a well-oiled machine right now, and they're just learning as they grow, like the Borg. Like they're gonna only know how to market and strategize what they're doing and write. They have a cohesive unit. They have the team in place, and with the people they have at the helm, I'm right now 100% confident in their ability to make us all happy every time.
Fair enough. Plowing ahead here, James, you had a question that you wanted to get to that we never had a chance to. Something, and I only have sort of the Cole's Notes version of the question. It was something revolving around the release date for the next trilogy. Do you
Oh,
remember what you wanted to get to?
absolutely. Actually, I sent this over to the guys at Talk Star Wars, and their answer surprised me. But I wanted to ask you guys the same thing. So I was sort of thinking about like the next trilogy. So we're at episode 8, and I've got this really bad habit of like seeing the end of things before they're even over.
Yeah.
On the ninth hole, I'm a bit sad about playing golf because there's only 9 holes left and it's almost over. Instead of just
It's like your vacation.
Yeah, you start getting sad around Wednesday.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So episode 8's already being talked about, and so I'm doing this stupid thing where I'm looking too far forward. But the more I thought about it, I thought, if it was up to me, we won't be getting more episodic trilogy for a while. I think I'd probably announce publicly that there's going to be a 10-year gap, like a solid decade, between episode 9 and episode 10. I would also reassure and calm everybody down that there'd be plenty of Star Wars content, spin-off movies and Han Solo's trilogy and whatever.
That's where you fit in an Obi-Wan trilogy.
Exactly. Lots and lots of great stuff through those 8 or 10 years. But the reason that I think that that's important, or the reason I would do that, is because the more I think about it, the more I think Star Wars has a massive fandom because of the long breaks between the trilogies, because we built up this longing for we had to wait so long that there's some sort of like extra effect on the fans and how much we like it. Like it just builds the suspense and builds the anticipation so much.
That old saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder, right?
My dad says it's absence makes the heart grow fungus, but
I think we have now set the record for dad jokes on our Star Wars podcast.
There's no doubt. But yeah, so my question to you guys is, how would you guys take that as fans? Like, is that would you be like livid and angry and that's a terrible idea? Or do you sort of think that makes sense, that by sort of giving us a big break between episodic trilogy movies, it keeps the momentum that Star Wars has built?
I agree. I think it would depend on how upfront they are with fans. If they just said, "No, we're done with the episodic movies for a while, but stay tuned, we'll have some new exciting announcements in the coming months," I'd be pretty angry.
Yeah.
But like you said, if they said, "Here's the plan for the next X number of years, decade, 15, 20 years," and they said, "Well, we're taking a break from the episodic movies. We want to let this current set breathe, and we have other exciting plans we want to get to at this point." Okay, depending on what those projects are, I'm on board. I don't know, Corey, what do you think?
James nailed it right on the head for me. I can't remember the podcast, but we've already had this discussion somewhat, and I'm 100% with him. Maybe not 10 years, but again, like you mentioned, it's definitely a big part of the allure of what is Star Wars. It's the wait, the anticipation. They can't just keep bombarding us with the saga. So Disney owns a vault, and they use it pretty frequently. And I highly suggest they use it in this franchise. But I don't know. 10 years kind of seems long to me. Like 7 years, seven seems to be a good number. There's seven Knights of Ren. There's seven Inquisitors, or including the Grand Master. I think 7 years in between would be good for me. I can wait that long. I'm not
Kyle, you're a
getting.
number. Sorry, Corey.
Yeah, go. I'm just not getting any younger. You know what I mean? Like a 10-year gap for me is basically
That's what
by the end of this 10-year gap's going to put me at 50. So you
Yeah.
know, I'd like to see an end to the saga before I die. To be honest,
It's never going to end. You're not. Sorry, dude. I hate to disappoint you, but you're not going to get to see an end to the saga.
I think we do because
No way.
if we go the way that hopefully the way it goes, and it's 100 years in the future, they got a 100-year time span to play with here, and R2's recounting the wills of the Force, and everything's settled from that point. You know what I mean? Like the galaxy's at peace. Let there be Force, no Force, whatever it is. It's come to a conclusion. Everyone's
R2
either happy or not happy, and R2's recounting that story, and it's over.
Well, this would be a big point of contention and debate, but who's to say that R2 is the only one who can tell Star Wars story scrolls at the beginning of the movie? It could be another droid for these.
No, then start another saga. Just start another saga. Don't continue this saga. Like
Okay, well, fair enough. We could see an end to the saga in that sense. I just meant we're not going to see an end to saga movies. But yeah, if you want to, when you put it that way, I agree. You could end.
No, I 100% agree that we can't see an end to saga movies, but this saga, I want to see I honestly don't want to see Star Wars 27. You know?
Oh, you're going to see it. You're going to. You will. There will be episode 27 at some point.
No, I think the marketing team at Disney is smart enough to know that could be a joke at one point. You know, like keep it at 12. 12 is a good, solid number. You have a lot of storytelling to do. Start something new after that. That may be hard to swallow for a lot of fans. Tell this story and move on. You know, it's got a 100-year time span. That's a big story. It's a big galaxy.
I can't see them breaking away from as far as the episodic movies go, I can't see them breaking away from this linear timeline. And if we use that 100-year endpoint from R2's point of view as sort of the end game, you can't jump too far ahead. Otherwise, you cut yourself off at the knees, and then you set yourself up to do more prequel trilogies. But I think that this movie, this franchise, the episodic movies just keep marching along. Episodes 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 at different points on that timeline. And I think they're just going to march ahead. Whether they march, if it's all building to R2's recounting of the story to whoever, I don't know. Obviously,
this could possibly segue into Mark's question if you're really thinking about it like that.
I just had a quick side thought. We're not supposed to do a lot of sides tonight to keep it to 2 hours, so I'll go quick. But do you think the last scene of the saga that Corey wants to see is like a cheesy pull away shot of like R2 and someone talking like How I Met Your Mother ended kind of thing? Or you know, the end of every show was like the kid sitting on the couch talking to the dad?
Yes, and like an old wizened uncle writing something down with his fountain
pen. Right. Yeah, exactly.
He's on Earth. He's on Earth.
That would be dreadful.
Yeah.
Oh God, that makes me sick just thinking about it.
No, it wouldn't be like that, but no.
The pan out and he's on Earth. That'd be interesting.
It really does segue into Mark's question, if you want to tackle that, Kyle.
Yeah, we'll get there. Anything left to say on this? Because I'm fairly certain that we don't break away from this group of people. I'm not going to close the book on it, but
the guys,
that's my sense.
The pond, totally agreed with you, Kyle. Both of you guys, they and which surprised me. I thought they'd be like, "Nah, we don't want to wait that long between movies." But all the guys over there agreed that a chunk of time between the Saga movies is a good idea.
No, I agree. Disney has a vault. It's always been a part of the allure, and they should definitely utilize that with this whatever's going on. Even between 10 and or 9 and 10, there should probably be, I would say, at least minimum a 3 to 4 year gap. 5. I would say 5 years minimum.
Sorry, I don't know what numbers I used before, but that's the gap I was talking about. 7, 8, 9, end, and I want 10 years between 9 and 10. Did I not say 9 and 10?
10's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot, but well, Kyle, you're a numbers guy. How many years was it between the last two breaks? Like,
It was 16 between Return of the Jedi and Phantom Menace, and
Okay.
then 15 and a few months, 15 and a half years between Revenge of the Sith and The Force Awakens.
yeah, see, 10. I maintain that that's the minimum number I would use anyway.
Well,
I think as an optimist, I think as a Star Wars fan, you're saying that, but them as a moneymaker, I think they will utilize the vault, but it won't be 10 years is too much for them, I would figure. Like they would probably do 5. 5's what they're probably going to go for, and I think 7's a good number for me.
But then Star Wars
again, like, here's
a concern for me. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Kyle.
Well, it's just picking up on what Corey said. Like, yes, any Star Wars movie nowadays is probably a lock to make $400 to $500 million as a spin-off. The episodic movies are probably a lock to make $1 billion. So I don't know how many companies, what kind of restraint they would have to say, you know what, that $1 billion lock, that $1 billion guarantee, let's put it off a decade.
No, see, here's the thing. It's not $1 billion guarantee if you start banging them out every year. Then they're not. Then it's 700 million. Then it's 500 million. Then it's 300 million. That's the problem. That's why you need the 10 years.
Yeah, they need to have something cooking up their sleeve. Let it stew. That's all.
There's so much they can show that's not episodic. There's so many amazing stories that you're gonna empty your wallet on. So many.
Yeah, you got to let fans. Oh, bleep.
I'll mark it down.
Yeah, mark the time. But yeah, you gotta let the fans marinate on everything. You gotta let them like yearn for it.
Yes, agreed. Anyway, good answers, guys. We can move on to someone else's. You guys handled that one good.
No,
Well,
I think a break is in order. We just debate on that length.
Exactly. That's fine.
Yeah.
Corey, you said that there was a question from Mark, but if you have it, then go ahead and read it because I don't have it in my version of the notes.
Hang on. Maybe I don't know if this is Mark or Rob. Is Rey a transitional character?
Oh, that's mine. That's my
That's your.
answer.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry. Okay, so it's your question. Excuse
It's
me.
my question, man.
Well, it seemed like it was coming from Mark because it's a very intelligent question.
Shots fired. Holy cow. James, should I be offended over that?
Are you smart enough to get that it was an insult?
I suppose. I don't know.
Then yes, you should be.
One of two fired. Honestly, like, yeah, Kyle and Mark are both definitely off. I'm gonna send this out there right now. Like, I have a project in mind, and Kyle and Mark are. It's an artistic project, but Kyle and Mark definitely are at the lead of whatever you want to call what we're doing here. Like, they're at the lead of the tumbling table, the round tumbling table, so we could talk Star Wars, if you will.
I don't think it was meant so much as an insult, although it was a pretty good little jab.
Yeah, it was a good job.
As much as it's meant to be a compliment for Mark.
Yeah, let's look at it that way. Let's be optimists.
Well deserved, yeah.
So anyway, I mean, this kind of plays, oddly enough, it plays right into your question, James, in a weird way. So I'm wondering, is Rey a transitional character? And what I mean by that is, I'm working under the assumption that she's not a Skywalker. And so, is she a way to free Lucasfilm from the shackle of telling the Skywalker family? So if we make the second assumption that Kylo Ren dies, as far as we know, he's the only Skywalker child at this moment. Until they confirm or debunk Rey as a Skywalker, Kylo Ren is the only one, and I presume he's going to die. So that's the assumption that this question makes, as well as Rey not being a Skywalker. So is Rey that transitional character? So episodes 10, whenever they get to it, Rey is the foundation of that. So um, it's the end of the Skywalker offspring, and Rey is the jumping off point for Lucasfilm to broaden the galaxy. Now, like, my final point in the question is that you could always say that the standalone movies are supposed to serve that purpose of broadening things and filling in gaps. But do you think Rey could be a new jumping off point character?
Go ahead, Corey.
Yeah, well, first of all, it's an excellent question, Kyle. So
Agreed.
Yeah, and if they're playing the long game, it kind of has to be in a way, unless like I think in people's heart of hearts, and including myself, she kind of has to be a Skywalker or a Solo. It is their saga, but maybe they're taking it a step beyond. Like we've heard so many rumors of her being possibly a virgin in the Force again, reincarnation, which there's again mixed reaction on. But it's just I don't know. I've braced myself for the fact that I don't know what her lineage is. Although I want her to be a Skywalker and I want it to be about their saga, it still can be. Kylo's there. She could be too, but it is a way to open new windows and new
It plays
doors.
into your question too, Corey, or not your question, but your belief that that they might go elsewhere in the Star Wars galaxy. So if you think that Rey is a transitional character, then your standpoint that they will break away from the Skywalkers and tell an entirely different story with different people, Rey could be that crossover character where you can leave the Skywalkers behind and she brings with her everything that we've come to know in Star Wars. But if she is a Skywalker, then I'm sorry to say, but they're never breaking away from the Skywalker family. Ever.
That's true. And that's where I kind of want to see it to go. Like I just mentioned this earlier, like I would like to see this series kind of end at 12. It's a 100-year time span, move on to a new time area. Maybe it's 100 years in the future. You got to get bold, create something new characters. But again, the way you're thinking of it is if this is the case, then you have 1 through 6 is Skywalker, 7 through 12 would be Rey, possibly 13 and upward would be a whole new family, maybe, like it does open windows, and it's a very good question. But me personally, as a fan, like I said, I want to see a conclusion before I die. And I'd like to see it be about Skywalkers, and I think a lot of fans think that way, but you have a good point in the sense that I don't know if Disney's going to do that because there's so much money at the helm. Unless they get bold and try new things, create new sagas.
All right, I don't disagree with everything you said, but I got a couple of not counters, but well, first of all, where I stand on the fact that her brother's a Skywalker makes her a Skywalker.
I know. I put an asterisk beside that. I should have mentioned something while I was talking about it, but I was rambling.
But beyond that, there's a couple of things that make me think she sort of has to be a Skywalker, because R2 this saga movie is about the Skywalkers, and it doesn't mean I'm not saying it's impossible that this character that they can't have a transitional character that they'll use to tell stories elsewhere, but I don't think they would write a whole trilogy about her. And certainly it seems like this is Rey's trilogy. So for those couple of reasons, I think, yeah, she's not a transitional character, and they're gonna keep telling this story.
Well, it's more about the characters transitioning the spirit of the Force, really.
What do you mean?
Like the Skywalkers were like the focus of like the Force's attention, and now this character Rey is kind of like a new virgins or whatever. And
I get that, but then this would be episode 1 of not the Skywalker story, Star Wars, that R2's telling. That's what I'm saying.
I agree. That's why I want this story to tell the Skywalker saga.
It will.
Thank you, James.
Yeah, no problem.
You just made me feel so much better.
And beyond that, of course, is anybody's guess, right?
Yeah, exactly. Maybe episode 9 wraps it up.
It's true. 9's a good number too, but I think they'll go for 12. But to me, 12 is a great number. Move on. It tells a good 100-year gap. You got your spin-offs in between. Like, take out a whole new chunk. Like, there's so much to work with. Like, be bold. Like, they got to take a jump at one point to be able to create something new. They can't just lean on this forever.
Hang on, slow down. They did just basically break the mold with harrowing characters. They've been pretty bold.
No, I agree, but it's still part of the same saga, and they can continue to milk this for a while. But at a point, they're gonna have to reboot. Like, they're gonna have to say, we got to create something new. We can't just keep leaning on this story. Or maybe they can. Who knows? It can keep going forever and ever.
It's an opera. Yeah, it becomes. I mean, the more you think about it, the more it becomes controversial, right? Because are you sullying George Lucas's legacy if you leave behind his foundations? Sure, you take the rules of that galaxy into your new saga, but if you dump everything that he created that's been built on to say you're going to start your own, I think that's bold is one way to describe it. Controversial is another.
Here's you just reminded me quickly, Kyle, of a point I thought about while Corey was talking. We're invested in the Skywalkers
heavily.
It's the family we care about. It's the family, like Corey keeps going on. I want to know how it ends. I need to know how it wraps up. This is certainly about the Skywalkers. So yeah, because they spent so much time getting us to fall in love with the Skywalkers, she has to be.
Like, I just don't want to see Luke's death be a transition point for another character. Like,
it wouldn't, that wouldn't hold nearly as much power.
Exactly, it would lose everything.
It's not nearly as powerful. If Vader's just a bad guy and not Luke's dad, it's just a movie that we saw once about a space, feud. But now it's a movie we've seen 100, 200, 500 times because that was his dad. Oh my God. And it's gonna be I'm not saying we need the shock value, but it will be more meaningful. Whoever kills whoever betrays whoever, it's just so much more powerful when it's family.
Absolutely. Yeah, and again, this character Rey has been so well received. I can't see them being done with her anytime soon. Of course, that episodes 10, 11, 12 are still a long way off. But I can't see them parting with her.
No,
I don't know.
No.
It's a good debate to have anyway.
Certainly, and I think they could introduce a transitional character to do what you said. I just don't think it's Rey. I think Rey is the main focus point of the continuation of the Skywalker story. So,
well, and like you said, James, we're so invested in the Skywalkers, and I think it'd be a huge gamble on Disney's part to think that they could end the Skywalker story and then start up a story based on some other family. Like
in their first go, like they didn't even give us a trilogy to see what they do with what we love. They just right away scrap it and start their own thing.
Yeah, we're talking we're talking now about the Flintstones in space.
Yeah.
How many people go, oh, well, it's not. I don't care about these people, and suddenly Star Wars takes a bit of a dive because the investment you've had for your whole life is gone. You have no skin in the game anymore, right? Yeah, it's gonna be Star Wars and it's gonna be cool, and there'll be a ton of people wanting to see it, but that commitment and that drive to want to stick with the Skywalkers is gone. There's pros and cons on both sides, right? Something new is something that a lot of people would jump at. But then again, like you said, James, where's the investment?
Yeah.
Good chat, boys. I think we're somewhere around the 2-hour mark, so I think it's a good spot to end for the week. We had a couple of questions, one from Ads and one from Josiah, and they're both Olympic flavored. So what we'll do is we'll package those up, and we'll do them next week in episode 38, and that will coincide with the closing weekend of the Olympics. So sit tight, boys. Hang out for another week. We will definitely get to those questions, and they're both deserving of a lot of thought. And I don't.
Yeah, they're great.
With
Yeah,
James
I
being
thought
out-
I thought about it. I thought about. I didn't see Ad's question yet, but I've seen Josiah's, and I thought of two pretty good ones that I kind of laughed out loud a bit, and I hope you guys will as well.
Yeah, these are ones that we need to spend some time on and have some fun with. So, James,
Cool.
with you being out of town for a little bit, you wouldn't have seen Ad's question until you got in late tonight, so it would have been unfair. So we'll do those questions next week, and we'll have a lot of fun with that. And hey, there's episode 37 in the books, lads.
Excellent.
Indeed, good chat.
I don't know what kind of week we're in for this time, but should anybody be listening that wants to follow along with us and talk about any Star Wars news that comes out, Corey, where can they reach you?
You can reach me at Chop Rules with a Z, and I honestly think it's going to be a slow week regarding Star Wars news. So hit us up with anything and everything you got.
Sage advice, James. What's the Twitter handle?
Tommy Bombadil 1. Sage advice. I got some sage advice from a herb gardener once.
Add another one to the list.
Oh man, it's amazing if people listen to us at all.
Dad jokes. I know the title of the show this week, Kyle. It's Dad jokes.
It's dad jokes, or it's it could be Corey's. It's good for the kids. I like it's good for the kids.
Yeah.
You're right. That's got a better ring to it.
It's
And
better
also
than
true.
laughing at me in the sense that it's a Sam Guerrero or a Christian Haydenson thing. Just like when I
Oh,
read
man.
my character description, I honestly thought you guys were laughing at me. Like I was like, fuck.
Oh, you want to timestamp that one again, James?
I got it.
All right. Oh Lord. Yeah, you're not the. I think maybe I'm gonna send all the audio to Corey since he has Audacity, and I'm gonna get Corey to edit the show this week.
Did you mean that he has the program, or are you just describing his traits?
You can give me a run through one time. I'll give it a try. But if you send it to me like that, like you're gonna have a mess on your hands. That's for sure.
Learn like I did. You fire up YouTube and you follow along.
Meh.
It was a total baptism by fire. Just figured out as on the fly. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. Thanks everybody for listening to episode 37 of the Tumbling Saber podcast. Yeah, check us out on check them out on Twitter at Chop Rules and Tommy Bombadil 1. I'm at Tumbling Saber. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram. And you can also find us now on T Republic. If you want to kick us a few bucks, you get a nice t-shirt, or maybe a mug is more your thing. Even I think we have a cell phone cover up there with our Say No to Clickbait slogan up there. Head over to trepublic.com. Do a search for Tumbling Saber. I assume we will pop up. Have a browse around. And if that's not your thing, then head over to iTunes. Leave us a 5-star review. Help us boost the show in the ratings and rankings, and help us spread the good word of Star Wars. And until then, guys, we'll catch you in episode 38. Thanks so much for listening, and have yourselves a good week. Peace. Okay, it's not 2 in the morning.
No, well done, boys. Well done.
I will be there too, watching, listening, every moment, wanting all of you, and I believe I can save you, just don't let me go, and I can see watching you walking away from me. Were you watching me? Was it just